What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my vlog. Now this video I am shooting in my house, okay? So I'm gonna have a very busy week at work and I'm not gonna be able to go to any locations this week, so I will get to that as soon as I can. So the next few videos may be about topics, okay? I still want to talk about all things paranormal. There's a lot of awesome topics that I want to do some research on and talk about, and I'm waiting for it to warm up. That way I can get into some locations. I have some places in my town, some haunted locations I'm going to go to, some abandoned locations I'm going to go to as well. Sometime this summer I am planning to go to a big one. It may be the Ohio State Reformatory, it may be Waverly Hills Sanatorium. I don't know yet, but that's something I'm working on. So, like I said, guys, in my last video, I have had a lot of paranormal experiences in my life. Nothing crazy. I would say no poltergeist experience, really. Nothing like that. But I have had a lot of experiences in my life. Some really neat ones. So I just wanted to just talk about my overall experiences. So throughout all my childhood, really, I grew up in Bucyrus, Ohio. My childhood home, just always feeling in the home that like I was being watched or just not alone. Never really feeling threatened or anything like that. But you just feel like there's someone always behind you or whatever. So quite a few experiences like that. So this experience happened probably, I want to say I was in high school. I believe it was my senior year, or I had just graduated, somewhere around that time. So this was around 2010. Sitting at home, I'm on the phone with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and we're talking on the phone for several hours. It was really late at night, and I'm in my kitchen, and where my kitchen is, similar to like my house, like I have, like this is my kitchen. Right around this corner here where this door that's open is, that's my basement. So similar setup, I'm sitting here, basement stairs are there, and I can hear like someone's like walking up and down the stairs or whatever. So me being me, Mr. Tough Guy, I walk over to the basement, I'm like, hey, quit it, and I smack the wall. And then you hear like, dun, 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 dun. Like it runs all the way up the stairs to me, and I'm like, okay, I'm out. That was probably my first experience, So fast forward to when we buy our home. This experience, I believe, it was when we first bought our home. So when we bought our home, I have my bedroom that's down here, and where we had our bed situated was right next to the room next to us. In the closet, my wife had all of her grandma's stuff. So all of her grandma's stuff being like her jewelry, her personal belongings, things like that. Well, on several occasions, I would wake up in the middle of the night, and at that wall is where my side of the bed would face, and I would see like, here's what I would call like a blob. And it would be like this free, like changing like blob or whatever, and I would wake up and it would be like on my side of the bed, and then it would just go into the wall and then disappear. And I want to say that happened probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times. Never felt threatened, honestly. I felt like it was just her grandma, like she was just watching over us or whatever. That was just kind of the vibe I got. But it happened several times, and we actually still have her grandma's belongings in that same closet, but we haven't had any more experiences. Fast forward to 2017, the year that my dad passed away, September 5th in 2017. If you watched my last video, I talked a little bit about this, but after my dad passed away, about a month after he passed, I had a dream that I get a call from my mom. She's like, hey, your dad was in the hospital or whatever. He had heart problems. And he just got to the hospital. She said, hey, Dad just got released. We're going to go to our church, have some lunch. Do you guys want to come up there and see us? Sure. So we go up there. We're all sitting there talking and stuff. Then my dad starts messing with that little bracelet, you get from the hospital. And so she's like, hey, will you help him cut off his bracelet? I'm like, yeah. So I always carry a pocket knife on me, and I go to reach for my pocket knife, and my dad stops me. He's like, hey, use this one. So he pulls out a knife out of his pocket. Now, what's unique about this story is that the knife my dad pulled out of his pocket was a pocket knife that I had bought for my dad for Christmas that year that he never got to get, but it was that exact knife. Now, could it have been him? Could it have been my mind? I don't know. But anyways, he pulls out that knife. He said, here, son, use this knife instead. And he hands me that knife. Really touching. And he hands me that knife, and I just kind of sit there. Like in my dream, like I knew. Like it felt like I knew what it was. And then he just kind of started smiling, and then like he started glowing in my dream. I feel like it was my dad's way of telling me that he's okay, that he made it into heaven. Now this really means a lot to me because for a lot of years my dad was not a great person. He wasn't in church. His actions didn't speak great of him, but he was my dad and I loved him dearly. Now at one point in time I was going to church with my girlfriend, and we were able to get my parents into going to church. My dad got saved and recommitted and everything like that. So I feel like that was my dad letting me know, you know, thank you so much. You know, I am okay. I'm where I need to be. And that's just one of those things. Maybe it was my mind making myself feel better because my dad was gone. I'm not trying to get too much into that side of things, but you know, when your parent passes away, you can't replace them. So, you know, that was one experience that I had that was related to my dad's passing. Then fast forward to probably a few months later. I'm gonna say this was probably December, January-ish that year. And I'm at home. I'm actually in my kitchen, like right where I'm standing right now, right at this counter behind me, my messy counter. Anyways, standing here, you know, I think I'm working on dinner or something like that, and I'm getting ready to have my dogs go outside. Now, when I let my dogs outside, I whistle, and you know, they know it's time to go outside. So I'm getting ready to whistle, and right beside me, I feel like it was right beside me, I hear like a, and that's what I normally do when I'm letting my dog outside. So I hear that from right beside me. I'm gonna go let my dog in here real quick. And of course the dogs come. And of course the dogs come running when they hear that. And I was like, hey, did you just whistle for the dogs? And my wife's like, no, I thought that was you. I said, I thought that was you. And it happened like so close. I feel like that was my dad as well. And the reason I feel that is because I kind of felt that presence, but this goes into the next story I'm going to tell. But we had a house fire, which is now about 7 years ago. And when we had our house fire, we had to rehome our animals at my parents' house. And my dad thought it was the coolest thing that I had my dogs trained like that. When I would whistle, they'd come running. My dad used to do it and stuff. You know, he just absolutely loved it. He got a kick out of having the dogs. So, you know, that was really neat to have that experience with him. So, along with the house fire, I have several stories with that. So I apologize I skipped it, but one more story about what I feel is my dad. So in my bedroom, on a few occasions, now we've moved things to where we're on the opposite side of the room from where it used to be, and I would wake up at night, sometimes at night, sometimes I would have just woken up, sometimes I'm about to fall asleep, and I would wake up and see like a blob again, but I would feel my dad's presence. Sometimes I would even smell his cologne. And I say that now, anyone watching this, my dad always used to wear the Bod black cologne, anyone that has ever smelled bod knows how like pungent that smell is. I would smell it. I've never worn the bod cologne. I've never owned it, so I don't know how I would smell it in my house. But on a few occasions where I would feel my dad's spirit, I would smell it. So if you're watching this and you know the exact smell I'm talking about, you know, you can tell when it's bod cologne and when it's not. So anyways, I would wake up and I would see like a blob beside my bed still, but I would feel and sometimes smell my dad's cologne, and it would be like a free form like blob, like all misshapen and stuff like that, and it would recede into the wall and then disappear. So I want to say I probably experienced that probably anywhere from 5 to 7 times on various occasions, which was really neat. And then in what used to be my office, I'll actually walk into my living room to show you this. So if you can see this right here has a lot of my dad's personal effects. I have his harmonica, his handkerchief, his wallet, picture of me and him, and then it fell down, but I have his pocket knife. Used to be hanging up here, but it fell down. I need to fix it. I have his cowboy bolos. This was some cowboy bolos that I bought for him. Really, really neat. I'll do some close-ups of it. And then in my closet I have my dad's cowboy boots that I used to wear. Anyways, the reason that box is important for this next story, in what used to be my office, I had a bookshelf that had that box on it, and then on the floor by the bookshelf I would keep my briefcase. It has a number lock briefcase, okay? So at one point in time I got into the briefcase to get something out of it, and I put the briefcase back. Now, anyone that's like a statistician, you probably know that a number lock briefcase, if you have a digit code, it's a 2-3 digit codes, okay? And I have the left and the right codes I set to different numbers, which is important for what I'm about to say. Now when I got in my briefcase and put it back, I scrambled the numbers. So I thumbed them and, you know, several times or whatever. So, and people do that so that way someone can't attempt to guess. You know, they'll thumb one digit at a time several times in an attempt to not have it be super close to where the combination is. Now after I did that and I put the briefcase in there, I went to get back in the briefcase probably about a week later, and when I was getting in it, I thought it was weird, but I noticed that all the numbers were set to 0, and it wasn't like, if you look at those combo locks, like you have like the numbers have to be like centered, and that's what you're selecting. All the zeros were completely centered. It wasn't like one was partially centered, one was up here and one was down here. No, all zeros on both sets were completely centered and aligned. And I was like, was someone messing with my briefcase? Asked my wife, she asked her mom. They said no, they weren't messing with my briefcase or nothing. So I called my mom, and I know that my dad used to carry a briefcase. He was a businessman, so he always carried a briefcase with like comb, papers he needed, important documents, you know, whatever he thought he would need for business. My dad was a businessman, that's how he was. So I called and I talked to my mom, and trying to get some info, and I said, hey, you know, Dad always had that briefcase. What can you tell me about Dad's OCD in his briefcase? And she's like, well, he always kept everything in it exactly like a certain way. Everything was organized. And when he wasn't in it, she said that he would always set the numbers to 0. Because I asked if it was a number briefcase or if it had like a key and lock. She said no, it was a number digit briefcase, and that he would always set the numbers to 0. And I was like, that is crazy, because that just happened to mine. And I say that because anyone that is a statistician on these briefcases, if I had my combination was like 222, 222 on it, or 3, you know, if it was any sequence of all 3, you could say that there's a possibility that if I do that, there is a slight possibility that I could have reset the numbers to 0. But my combinations are way different. They're 2-3 digit combinations, no repeating numbers, and the left and right sides are completely opposite. So from the possibility of that, from a statistic standpoint, it is theoretically impossible to have that happen where I would have scrambled everything and had it be to zeros and they'd all be completely centered. It's theoretically impossible, but could it happen? Yes. Do I believe it happened? No. I'm trying to get in an area where I don't have a bunch of noise around me, guys, so I apologize for moving around. So this next story, down this hallway right behind me, that's where our bathroom and our bedrooms are, okay? I apologize for the messy house, I have 2 kids, whatever. Anyways, my bathroom's down here on the right. Now, one day I was home alone and I'm in the bathroom doing bathroom stuff, okay? And I hear something walk down the hall, and I hear, I'll go show you. So I'm in the bathroom and I hear something walk down the hall. I hear the footsteps, and I hear a door open and shut. So I was like, okay. So when I got out of the bathroom, I looked down, and this door all the way at the very end is a closet. Bedrooms on the left and right, bathroom down here in the middle. Anyways, so I was like, creepy, but when I go out, the only door that's still shut was my daughter's door, which I can see from the bathroom, so I know it wasn't that door, and that door that I told you is our linen closet, which was still shut and everything. So I was like, something just like walked into that closet or opened and shut the door. I don't know. Really weird. That's the only time that ever happened. So a few stories regarding my house fire, okay? I believe that after I had my house fire, I believe that I was tormented by some kind of demonic spirit, or I don't know. I feel I was tormented by something, okay? So after we had our house fire, we were out of our house for 9 months. Most of my house got rebuilt. And so all the smoke detectors in my house are all wired together. They're all battery operated in the case of a power outage, and they're all also hardwired into my actual power boxes that I have downstairs. And I say this because the way that they're set up is that with this smoke detector system, if my smoke alarm in the basement goes off, they're all supposed to go off. That way you can make sure that you can hear it from anywhere in the house. They also can detect what kind of threat there is. So if they detect smoke and heat, they will actually say fire detected. If they can detect CO2 or carbon monoxide leak, they'll say carbon monoxide detected. So the first thing that happened, and this was before I had kids. When we moved into the house, we didn't have kids. When we moved back into the house, we didn't have kids at this point. But one night, me and my wife were in bed, and only one smoke alarm went off, which was weird, and it said fire detected. So I jump out of bed. I'm on like a 50 because I just had a house fire several months ago, and one of my smoke alarms is saying fire detected. So I'm absolutely freaking out. And by the time I get near it, it stops, and I go all around the perimeter of my house, all around the inside. I climb in my garage that's behind me. This door back here is our attic access. So I got my ladder out and I climbed up there to look and see if there's a fire maybe in the attic, and nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, that was one thing that happened. And then on 2 more occasions, once when I was home by myself, all my fire detectors, or my smoke detectors, went off, and they all said fire detected. And then, so that was, you know, a thing. And then on a third occasion, they all went off again and said fire detected. So on 3 occasions, on one, only one went off and said fire detected. Then on 2 separate occasions, all of my fire detectors went off and said fire detected when there was no fire. And I forget the name of the company. They're KIDDE, K-I-D-D-E. But I contacted their customer support, and they said that they have a 99.9% chance of correctly identifying the threat. Which most companies have to say that it's 99.9 because there is an event that it could malfunction or whatever. But they did say that they have never had any instances like what I was saying where only one went off, because they're designed, if one goes off, they all go off. And they've also never had that issue on multiple occasions where there wasn't actually a threat. So they're pretty dumbfounded, but I was like, you know, everything seems to be working fine. Now, the only time that I have one of my smoke detectors go off is like if I'm cooking and one of them might go off. They all don't go off in that case because it doesn't detect fire. They said that if there's a threat to which they will say fire detected or whatever, they all will go off. But like for heat from cooking, they said that one will go off if it's close, if it doesn't detect a threat. So, you know, that was one thing. And then the last thing, and I don't really, I'm not going to talk about just individual instances, but on several instances since my house fire, and this could just be a trauma thing, I guess. I've had times that I've woken up and the TV that we used to have like a green light that would flash, and I would wake up and I would see that green light beaming through smoke. I would smell smoke. On one case, you know, I woke up in the middle of the night and I see smoke everywhere. I smell it, I'm coughing, run through the house, and then it's gone. No smoke, no smell, no nothing. And that happened on several occasions, so I really feel like maybe some of it was like from the trauma of waking up and, you know, your house being engulfed in flames. It could have been it. I don't know. But anyways, guys, you know, those are just some of my personal paranormal experiences. I'm sure there's more that I'm just not thinking of right now. But seriously, I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash that like button. Leave a comment. If you guys have any topics that you want to hear about in future videos, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. I do have a Facebook group and everything, so like and comment below. Follow me on Facebook, and we will see and do much more fun stuff this summer. See ya.